Hello, welcome back to Hazel Jane Tarot, and today we're going to have a chat about my December favourites. So we'll start off with the decks that I worked with in December. So no surprises, I was using the Goddess Love Oracle by Wendy Andrew. This deck has been in constant use since I got it in August in Glastonbury, and I've mostly been using it at night for like a card at bedtime. And you can see there's a sort of a lovely wintry visual in a lot of the cards. So even ones that to my eye depict Bridget, both of these to me do, because she's carrying the flame. There's still, some of them are quite wintry. So this was a lovely deck to work with in December, and on Christmas Eve, this was the card that I pulled, which was really just too perfect for Christmas Eve when Santa's coming flying through this starry sky. So that's just a lovely deck that I've been using for a few months, and but I've actually put it away now, and I'll tell you what I'm going to be using instead in a moment. I also used the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. I didn't do loads of card pulls from this. I wasn't pulling cards daily, but I did pull cards a couple of times a week from it through December, and I also used it especially on the winter solstice and like around sort of Christmas as well. I find with this deck I did have to read the guidebook as well, just to sort of get a broader sense of what the card makers were going for, because the little poems on each card sometimes were a bit too obscure for their own good. So the little guidebook though had nice clear simple messages, so I used that in December as well, and I'll be putting that away very soon. And the other deck that I used for tarot reading was Tarot of the Abyss, and I especially used this again on the winter solstice. I did a reading, and it was by candlelight, and this deck just looked absolutely gorgeous by candlelight, and it really read very, very well. So those are the main decks that I used in December. I also in December filmed my full tarot and oracle deck collection, and that is all up on my YouTube channel across 4 videos. So I went back through all of the decks that I had used that were recorded in my photographs, in my camera roll, on my Instagram, in my journal, and then pulled out all the decks that I hadn't used and went through and did a video on those. So if you haven't seen that, that video series is all up on my channel at the minute, and it's all 90, 100 odd tarot and oracle decks. So this is something else that I used in December. So this magical spray for Yule, see if I can bring that better into focus, is from Sons of Asgard, which is a shop in Glastonbury, and I got this in their little Yule celebration kit, which I showed at the end of my November favourites. So this room spray is lovely smell, and then you have the loose incense, and I used the room spray quite a lot, and then so the magical spray. And then I used the incense particularly on the winter solstice as well, when I met up with a friend and had a lovely sort of celebration of the winter solstice. I mean, I also celebrate Christmas, and had a lovely Christmas with Santa, and going to church and all the whole trappings of Christmas. But I had a separate celebration for the winter solstice with my friend, and that little Sons of Asgard Yule celebration kit was really came into its own then, and it was lovely to create the atmosphere with those scents. Okay, so new tarot and oracle decks. Even though it was Christmas, I had no tarot or oracle decks on my Christmas wish list. I actually got a lot of books for Christmas. I'm not going to show you them all now because they'll come up as I read them through the coming year. But what I did end up treating myself. So this deck arrived on the 21st of December. So it was a little inadvertent solstice gift, but I'd ordered it obviously a little bit earlier. So these are the Cup of Contemplation cards by Julie Rose, who you might know better as Peekaboo Rose from our YouTube tarot community. So this is a set of prompt questions, and I have filmed a full walkthrough of this, which I must upload. I haven't uploaded it yet. So each card has a different cup with a little image on it that corresponds with the question. And the idea is therefore reflection over a cup of tea or journaling over a cup of coffee. Yeah, it's a lovely set of prompt questions, or you could use it to prompt like a tarot or oracle reading or something like that. So that's a lovely deck that I treated myself to. And then would you believe, on Christmas Day, I went and ordered myself another deck. After not having any decks on my Christmas wish lists, I bought myself another oracle deck. So this is one I'd had my eye on for a while. I think I first saw it on, Lisa Papez does sort of hot takes on the upcoming decks. I think this is one that I saw on that. So the African Goddess Rising Oracle by Abiola Abrams, and it's published by Hay House. And the art in this is just gorgeous. And each, let me just read from the back of the box so I explain it properly. Each of the cards depict a revered deity, matriarchal spirits, supernatural creatures, and regal ancestors, reflecting the multidimensional nature of traditional African spirituality. So that's from the back of the box. So the colourful artwork is just absolutely gorgeous, and all these divine feminine figures that are depicted. There's just such a beautiful range. Most of them are unfamiliar to me, so reading about them in this little guidebook, or starting to read about them in this guidebook. But there's a real lovely range of keywords in this deck, that are very expansive and not all positive, so like there's grounding, and then we have shame, manifestation, liberation. Look at the art, it's just so beautiful. So this has taken over the spot of the Goddess Love Oracle on my little altar space in my bedroom, and I'm pulling a card from this at night and reading the little entry from the guidebook for it. But it's just a beautiful deck to have out, and the messages in it are really, as I say, broad and varied, and each card is teaching me a little about a divine feminine figure from various African religions and traditions. So this lovely deck, I will have to do a proper walkthrough of it or a review of it maybe after I've used it for a while. But this is a mass market deck, and this was my Christmas treat to myself. So what else? Music. So a lot of Christmas music getting played. I showed you this, I think, at the end of my November favourites. So Leslie Odom Jr., who I have, like, if I was to give a music favourite of the year, Leslie Odom Jr. is probably my number one favourite artist of the whole year, because his album Mr. Was one of my big new music listens this year. And of course, listening to Hamilton and Leslie Odom Jr. on YouTube singing Without You from Rent. I mean, I've mentioned this nearly every month. So having his Christmas albums to listen to was fabulous. These are both really great. I think if I had to pick a favourite out of the two, I would pick this one, which is the 2020 Christmas album, and it has a lovely range of music, including that this track 7, which is a duet with his wife and is like a Jewish spiritual piece of music. That's particularly gorgeous, but there's loads of lovely. That Winter Song is another lovely duet. It's a great album. So if you're looking for a Christmas album to buy and keep for yourself for next year, that's my big recommendation. Totally non-sponsored, just things that I like. Another thing that I listen to a lot in December, and you can see I've had this for quite a while because it's a bit dinged up. This is Tori Amos's seasonal album, Midwinter Graces, which is a gorgeous album of music that is inspired by Christmas and also pagan music. And look, the photography in it is so lovely as well. So this was when I met with my friend to celebrate the winter solstice. This was some of the music that we were listening to. She has a beautiful song called The Winter's Carol, which is one of my favourite. I'll see if I can link it below actually, so you can listen to The Winter's Carol if you haven't heard this album before. But it's a really lovely seasonal listen, especially if you want to have seasonal music but aren't too keen on, more Christian Christmassy tunes. So that's Tori Amos. And the other thing I was listening to was I Did Get This for Christmas. So this is right the very end of the end of the month, but you might have heard me saying previously that I'd watched Tick Tick Boom on Netflix. I've watched it twice, maybe 2.5 times. I really love it. And I got the soundtrack CD, so I've been listening to that as well. Winging its way to me currently is I've just ordered the CD of, yes, I'm very old school, I listen to CDs, I don't have any streaming services for music. The soundtrack for Encanto. So Encanto, if you haven't stumbled on it yet, is Disney's new movie. I took my little girl to see Encanto in the cinema in December, which was a lovely experience. She's just about old enough to sit through a movie, but I loved it. And since then, it has come out on Disney Plus, which we have at home, and she has been wanting to watch Encanto over and over again. And she wants to be Isabella, who is Mirabel, the main character's older sister, who has magic that makes flowers. And she's saying, I've got black hair, and dancing around the kitchen, pretending she's making flowers appear magically. It's absolutely gorgeous. So Encanto is brilliant. The music in it is brilliant. It's written by the genius Lin-Manuel Miranda, wrote the music for Encanto. So that'll be in my January favourites. You can guarantee the soundtrack. But the movie is definitely in my December favourites. And we have watched it 3 or 4 times and we'll be watching it again. In terms of books, I just wanted to share this with you. This is a Christmas book in Irish, Asal Uasal. And it's a lovely nativity storybook, but told from the point of view of the donkey. And I have spent some time reading this, translating it, practicing my pronunciation, trying to read it. So it's been a really nice book to work with. I haven't actually translated the whole book yet. So children's books with this many words on the page are kind of still quite hard for me with my Irish level, but I'm getting there. And I just love how pregnant Mary is, and the art is lovely in this book. So some Christmas books, Mary doesn't even look pregnant at all. Anyway, other books that I really enjoyed in December, there weren't any really mega standouts, but I did listen to Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, which is a kind of dystopian classic, which I had never read before. So I listened to that on Audible this month, and I really enjoyed it, actually. It was really good. It was, maybe not a favourite book ever, but I realised why Fahrenheit 451 is kind of seen as such a classic, because there was a lot to be got out of it. And I also listened on Audible as well to Where the Crawdads Sing. I can't remember the name of the novelist, but that was quite a popular one, I think. And I didn't enjoy it as much as some of the reviews I read, that were really hyping it as a 5-star read. It wasn't that for me, but I did pretty enjoy it up until the ending, which I didn't so much enjoy, but I don't want to say too much about that. But I did manage to meet my reading goal. Now, I don't include books like this. I don't include children's books or books I'm studying Irish from in my reading statistics. But I do include audiobooks in the books that I've read. And my goal for the year was to have read 40 books, and I managed to read 42. So I was really pleased with that. So if you're interested in any more of my favorites from the year in terms of books, movies, TV, I did post about those things on Instagram. I noticed that those posts don't get as much engagement because they're not about tarot, and that's absolutely fine. But if you are interested to hear what my top 5 movies, top 5 TV, and top 5 novels of 2021 were, if you check out at Hazel Jane Tarot, all one word, on Instagram, I have posted about those things, and I'd love to have a chat with you about them, because I love movies and TV and books as well. So I'm going to leave it there for my December favourites, and I will be back soon with, I think, my top 5 tarot and top 5 oracle of 2021, because I haven't uploaded those yet, so keep an eye out for that coming soon. And yes, here's to a great 2022, everybody. Bye.